Former Democratic Representative Tim Ryan warns on MSNBC, his own party is toxic to voters with "What are we doing?" NY Times hammered for article referring to biological women as non-trans.
In Israel, the government announced its decision to sever ties with Haaretz, the country's largest newspaper, following the publisher's decision to refer to terrorists as freedom fighters. Additionally, officials in Israel and Lebanon reported that they were on the verge of signing a ceasefire deal. Furthermore, an advisor to the supreme leader of Iran stated that Iran was preparing to respond to Israel.
Russia says it needs migrants to fill labor shortage. Russia recruits Yemeni mercenaries to fight in Ukraine, and Putin signs law forgiving debt arrears for new Russian recruits for Ukraine war. Putin's assassination targets revealed in declassified memo. As declassified U.S. intelligence memorandum details Russia's suspected targeting of political adversaries abroad.
Dnipro on November 21 had no explosives and caused no destruction, as reported by Bild. Dual U.S. and Albanian citizen arrested for attempting to provide material support to ISIS and distributing instructions regarding homemade explosives. Hamas says, Israeli female hostage killed in North Gaza area hit by Israel.
The U.S. Treasury has imposed sanctions on Gazprom Bank and taken further measures to restrict Russia's access to the international financial system. In a separate development, Putin claimed that Russia had fired a hypersonic ballistic missile at Ukraine as a warning to the West. However, U.S. officials have refuted this claim, stating that Russia did not launch an ICBM at Ukraine, contradicting a statement made by Kyiv yesterday. Additionally, U.S. intelligence agencies have issued a warning to defense companies about the potential threat of Russian sabotage.
The International Criminal Court, ICC, has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, former Defense Minister Gallant, and former Hamas commander Mohammed Deif. In response to the ICC's move, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán announced that he would invite Netanyahu to Hungary. Additionally, Brazilian police have found evidence suggesting that former President Jair Bolsonaro was aware of a plot to assassinate former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. As a result, Brazilian police have indicted Bolsonaro and several of his aides for allegedly participating in a 2022 coup attempt. Furthermore, a Mexican cartel leader who had faked his own death to live a life of luxury in the United States has been arrested in California by federal officials.
Russia launches its first intercontinental ballistic missile at Ukraine, while the U.S. and its allies respond by closing their embassies in Ukraine in response to Russia's threats. Amidst escalating tensions, the Danish Navy successfully intercepted a Chinese ship suspected of damaging undersea cables, while Russia vehemently denies any involvement in cutting the Baltic Sea cables.
India's second wealthiest person, Gautam Adani, has been charged by the U.S. with $250 million in bribery. U.S. charged billionaire Adani with defrauding investors, concealing a plan to bribe Indian officials, and GQG Partners, an Adani investor, shares experienced their worst day following Adani's indictment. Additionally, a report reveals that over half of non-retired U.S. adults anticipate relying on Social Security for their retirement. Furthermore, an audit sheds light on Boeing's practices, showing that the company marked up soap dispensers by an astonishing 8,000% and incurred $1 million in overcharges for the Air Force.
The U.S. has vetoed a UN resolution aimed at establishing a ceasefire in Gaza, citing concerns that it may not guarantee the release of hostages. In response, Hamas has reiterated its refusal to engage in a hostage for prisoner swap with Israel unless the ongoing conflict in Gaza comes to an end. Additionally, the Senate has rejected Sanders-backed proposals intended to prevent arms sales to Israel. The White House has accused Democrats who oppose providing weapons to Israel of inadvertently aiding Hamas.
Lebanon's Hezbollah vows to continue resistance after ceasefire, as Israel and Hezbollah ceasefire begins after year of conflict. Politico comments as Biden tries to go out with a Middle East miracle, as Biden pushes Netanyahu to get a Gaza hostage versus ceasefire deal after Lebanon truce. France says Netanyahu is immune from ICC warrant as Israel is not member of court. Berlin police chief issues warning for Jews in city's Arab neighborhoods.
costs more than the aircraft carrier Vikrant, which cost $2.49 billion to build. The Indian Coast Guard also seized 5.5 tons of drugs in the Andaman waters, making it the largest narcotics haul ever. Interpol's financial crime operation made a record 5,500 arrests and seized over USD 400 million in worthless assets.
Axios reports that the Biden administration's agenda has spurred a remarkable $1 trillion in economic investment. In other news, Intel has secured a substantial $7.9 billion award for constructing a new U.S. chip plant. Additionally, Chinese scientists have made a groundbreaking discovery, claiming to have successfully developed a converged energy beam weapon, drawing parallels to the iconic Death Star from Star Wars.
Senior North Korean general wounded in recent Ukrainian strike, Western officials report. Ukraine claims that a new Oreshnik missile fired by Russia traveled faster than Mach 11. A Norwegian guard at the U.S. Embassy in Oslo was arrested over allegations of spying for Russia and Iran.
EU regulators abandoned their investigation into Apple's e-book rules after the complaint was withdrawn, as the Apple e-books antitrust investigation concluded, likely due to its irrelevance. Meanwhile, Netflix subpoenas Discord to identify the alleged leaker of Arcane and Squid Game. In the U.S., the Supreme Court dismissed Facebook's appeal in a shareholder lawsuit stemming from the Cambridge Analytica data breach.
Below $200,000 can expect to attend MIT tuition-free starting in 2025. In a related development, Berkeley coding professor says, even graduates with 4.0 GPA can't find jobs. Additionally, a study has revealed that Z Library, one of the largest shadow libraries on the Internet, assists students in overcoming academic poverty.
New data reveals a slowdown in the growth of mobile Internet users. Gray Key tool employed by law enforcement can only partially unlock iOS 18 devices. Google utilizes millions of phones to map Earth's ionosphere and enhance GPS.
A survey reveals that nearly half of Muslim students at California universities have experienced harassment. Additionally, 4 University of Rochester students were arrested for distributing wanted posters targeting Jewish staff members.
As the U.S. debt reaches a staggering $36 trillion, approximately 1 in every $5 the government spends is repaid to investors who lent it money. In a groundbreaking move, the UK government is set to conduct its first major trial to address poverty by providing cash to homeless individuals. Additionally, Miley officially ended her relationship with Villarreal, asserting that she is now closer to the cast and that the vice president has no influence on Argentina's policy.
To bash Britain with massive cyber attack, ministers to warn NATO conference. Meta power military chat but advertised giving worthless advice on airstrikes. U.S. Air Force says drones spotted near 3 bases in England last week.
North Korean hackers stole $10 million using AI-driven scams and malware on LinkedIn. Additionally, a cyber attack targeted the data of 500,000 Auchan shoppers. A Thai medical tycoon is wanted for fraud and fled to China, according to police reports.
Orders to Riyadh. Lutnick's Cantor engages in discussions with Tether regarding a $2 billion Bitcoin lending project. Washington restricts Intel's chip grant following the company's recent setbacks.
Pakistan partially suspends mobile and internet services in anticipation of a pro-Imran Khan protest. In response, Islamabad imposes a lockdown in preparation for the protests aimed at the release of former Prime Minister Imran Khan. On the other hand, diehard gamers in China are driving the demand for esports hotels. Additionally, an Arcane Netflix banner image was removed after fans noticed subtle indications of artificial intelligence.
Crypto exchange Kraken has shut down its NFT marketplace. The Fifth Circuit has ruled that the Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, overstepped its authority in sanctioning Tornado Cash's immutable smart contracts. Federal Reserve minutes indicate that officials prefer gradual rate cuts rather than abrupt ones. BYD rolled off its 6 millionth new energy vehicle, as of November 2024. 10 months ago, China's BYD overtakes Tesla as top-selling electric car seller. German steel giant ThyssenKrupp to slash 11,000 jobs. Trump says he will impose new tariffs on Canada, Mexico and China on first day.
Ukraine has lost more than 40% of the land it seized in Russia's Kursk region, according to a senior Kyiv military source. Additionally, the Blackwater founder asserts that there is no chance for Ukraine to reclaim the Russia-annexed lands. Furthermore, banks in the United Arab Emirates, Turkey and Thailand have ceased servicing UnionPay cards issued by Gazprom Bank. BMW 5 Series claims German Car of the Year title in 2025. Bloomberg suggests Northvolt's decline began with BMW's decision to discontinue production. UniCredit proposes a $10.5 billion acquisition of Banco BPM, a competitor in Italy. In the third quarter of 2024, the number of bankruptcy declarations among EU businesses increased by 2.7% compared to the second quarter.
Underwater boron ramjet for hypersonic weapons achieves 90% efficiency. Chinese scientists build recoilless AK-47 that can be wielded by almost any drone. South Korea, Malaysia agree to cooperate in defense, minerals.
RNA exhibits no preference for left or right-handedness, as prebiotic chiral transfer from self-aminoacylating ribozymes could potentially favor either-handedness. On the other hand, an early hominid discovered in China has sparked a new debate about the existence of a new species, characterized by its large head and prominent teeth.
The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has broadened its telemarketing rule to encompass technical support scams, which resulted in substantial losses of $175 million for consumers aged 60 and above last year. Additionally, Ofcom reported a significant increase in the time spent online by adults in the UK, with a nearly hour-long jump in 2024. Furthermore, SUSE has rebranded and launched an AI platform designed to protect enterprise data.
NATO chief says, Ukraine not in strong position to negotiate with Putin. Chinese ship's crew suspected of deliberately dragging anchor for 100 miles to cut Baltic cables. Romania regulator, ANCOM vice president calls for the suspension of TikTok on Romanian territory. Steam removes October 7th game at request of UK counter-terrorism unit. 3 Uzbek nationals arrested in the killing of an Israeli-Moldovan rabbi in the UAE, and UAE thanks Turkey for helping to arrest suspects in killing of Israeli rabbi. A fugitive wanted in the US for a pair of bombings is arrested in the UK after 20 years on the run.
Russia expels a British diplomat over alleged espionage activities. In response, the UK's number 10 dismisses Russia's spy claims as baseless. Brian Krebs comments that a hacker involved in snowflake extortions may be a US soldier. Additionally, NASA discovers a secret US military base, buried 100 feet deep in Greenland ice.
Putin warns Ukraine of new missile strikes as Russia intensifies its assault on the power grid. In a separate development, a UK base spying allegedly passed classified information to Russia for nearly 3 years, as revealed by a court. Additionally, Georgia has decided to suspend its secession talks with the European Union until 2028.
Former Binance employee sues exchange for unfair dismissal after raising bribery allegations. Reuters reports that HSBC is withdrawing from its China credit card business due to difficulties in expanding. Hackers steal $17 million from the Uganda's central bank.
Has filed a lawsuit against Google, accusing the tech giant of engaging in anti-competitive practices related to advertising. In a separate development, the Competition Commission of India, CCI, has initiated an investigation into Google following a complaint lodged by the real money gaming platform, Winzio. Additionally, Google has taken legal action against a Pixel engineer who allegedly leaked trade secrets online.
China's Defense Minister Dong Jun is under investigation for corruption, as reported by the Financial Times. Additionally, a survey reveals that over 50% of French citizens want their government to fall. Furthermore, Adani fraud allegations have rocked the Indian parliament, prompting the opposition to demand a probe into the billionaire's firms.
Likely be said in earlier decades such as 1966, says creator. The character I miss writing the most is actually Wisteria Lane.
Ireland is poised to form a coalition government following the parliamentary election, as indicated by an exit poll. In other news, the Icelandic opposition Social Democrats are expected to secure a victory in the upcoming elections. Additionally, Romanians are voting in parliamentary elections, while the far-right party hopes to make gains in the process. Furthermore, Namibia has decided to extend election voting due to technical issues, which has drawn complaints from the opposition.
Fox News is reaping the benefits of Donald Trump's victory, reported by Financial Times. Republicans are preparing for the upcoming debate about the costs of the $5 trillion Trump's tax cut. A report claims that the auto industry could lose 17% of its profits due to Trump's tariff plan. Moscow expels German journalists. Berlin denies closing Russia TV bureau. Lithuania expels 3 Chinese staff as diplomatic ties weighed. Senegal's leader says France should close all army bases in country.
Researchers have discovered the first UEFI bootkit malware specifically designed for Linux systems. Kodak has decided to pause the production of film output, doubling down on its growing popularity among the Gen Z demographic. Wild turkeys are becoming increasingly difficult to locate as they develop strategies to evade hunters.
New Japanese rocket engine explodes during testing for the second time in 16 months. HESS collaboration detects the most energetic cosmic ray electrons and positrons ever observed. Blue Origin removes the video of the 100th woman in space after being flooded with sexist comments.
Allegedly, intelligence sources claim that Russia has a plan to divide Ukraine into 3 separate entities. Ukraine launched UK Storm Shadow cruise missiles into Russia, a day after using US ATACMS. The Biden administration is considering forgiving $4.7 billion in loans to Ukraine, and Biden has approved the use of anti-personnel mines in Ukraine, reversing his previous stance.
South Korean investors are shifting their focus to U.S. stocks and cryptocurrencies, leading to a decline in South Korea's stock market as investors flock to the cryptocurrency market. NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal recently signed an $11 million settlement for an Astrals NFT. Additionally, the Alternative for Germany, AfD, party has included Bitcoin in its election program for the upcoming Bundestag elections in Germany.
The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has shattered a record by imposing a staggering $8.2 billion in penalties for the year 2024. This record-breaking figure is primarily driven by Terraform Labs' substantial settlement, which accounts for a significant portion of the total penalties. In the same period, the SEC has also amassed a substantial revenue of $4.68 billion from the crypto sector, reflecting the ongoing crackdown on the sector. On a separate note, a recent court ruling has ordered an 836-pound cursed emerald, valued at a whopping $1 billion, to be returned to Brazil. This decision comes after a lengthy legal battle. Furthermore, a report from Bank of America suggests that tech stocks are approaching a critical threshold that could potentially lead to the demise of the U.S. exceptionalism trading strategy. The report warns that this threshold could trigger a significant shift in the market dynamics and potentially impact the performance of tech stocks. Cantor Fitzgerald has agreed to acquire a 5% stake in Tether for a maximum of $600 million. Australia is conducting a public consultation on its cryptocurrency asset tax report. Swiss regulator FINMA has issued a warning about the increasing use of stablecoins for money laundering.
Of digital payment services, including Apple Pay, Cash App, PayPal, and Zelle. Additionally, the UK is committed to delivering a comprehensive cryptocurrency regulation framework by early 2025.
Gallup reports as gun ownership rates have spiked among Republican women. Biden awards Medal of Freedom to former Planned Parenthood President Cecile Richards. Anti-transgender laws cause up to 72% increase in suicide attempts among transgender and non-binary youth, study shows.
Delta CEO asserts that the Trump administration will reverse the government's perceived overreach during the Biden administration. Bezos responds to Musk's assertion that Trump would lose. Reuters reports that Amazon is likely to face an investigation under EU tech regulations next year, according to sources. Additionally, the Texas Attorney General has initiated an investigation into an advertising group that Elon Musk sued for allegedly boycotting X.
Suspected of being involved in a plot to assassinate President Lula. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is reportedly considering establishing a new role for cryptocurrency within the White House. Additionally, the number of conflict zones worldwide has increased by 2/3 since 2021, surpassing 6 million square kilometers.
Poll reveals that the majority of Democrats support Harris as their preferred candidate for the next presidential nomination. Additionally, there have been reports of Tesla owners purchasing an unusually large quantity of bumper stickers that criticize Elon Musk. Furthermore, Musk and Ramaswamy have proposed the termination of remote work for federal employees and the implementation of mass layoffs.
In the United States, House Speaker Johnson announced a policy barring transgender women from using Capitol bathrooms on Trans Day of Remembrance. Trans U.S. Representative-elect Sarah McBride responded to the ban by stating, "I'm not here to fight about bathrooms." Salon commented on the incident, noting that Mike Johnson's response to the election of a transgender lawmaker was to ban her from Capitol bathrooms.
Left-wing opposition candidate wins tight presidential election in Uruguay. Maduro agents have cut off electricity and intensified the siege of the Argentine embassy, as reported by an asylum seeker. 2 months ago, Venezuelan security forces surrounded the Argentine embassy after opposition members sought refuge inside. In the U.S., a report revealed that 1 in 10 Democrats believe the Trump election was illegitimate. In Israel, PM firmly condemns attempt by Jewish extremists to attack top IDF West Bank commander. Lindsey Graham tells allies, "We're gonna crush your economy if they arrest Netanyahu for war crimes." Reportedly, Benjamin Netanyahu weakened by the Bible leaks, an organized leak of falsified secret documents to justify the war in Gaza.
Partisanship significantly influences news consumption more than the truth, as revealed by a recent study. Uruguay's former president, José Pepe Mujica, remarked, "I dedicated myself to changing the world, but I didn't accomplish anything." In other news, the Wall Street Journal reports that TikTok CEO is seeking advice from Elon Musk regarding the incoming Trump administration.
The Philippine vice president publicly threatens to have the president assassinated. Trump's hush money sentencing is postponed indefinitely, judge says. Francis Lemond comments as, "Musk plays increasingly encumbering role in British politics."
Reportedly, a proposed climate tax on cryptocurrency mining is gaining traction. 4 months ago, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) issued a report stating that carbon emissions from artificial intelligence (AI) and cryptocurrency are surging, and tax policy can play a crucial role in addressing this issue. Additionally, Polymarket has blocked French users amid regulatory scrutiny over a $80 million Trump election bet. Furthermore, Revolut is set to launch a range of financial services, including mortgages, smart ATMs, and business credit products.
Harris aides claim that internal polling never showed her leading Trump. Sharon Stone asserts that Trump's victory was due to the uneducated and non-traveling American population. Notably, Trump's guitars were recently hit with a cease and desist order from Gibson due to the use of the Les Paul body shape. Trump unveiled a limited edition American Eagle, acoustic and electric guitar just a week ago. National Review reports that DEI training material increases perception of non-existent prejudice, in agreement with Hitler rhetoric, as a study finds. Texas abortion laws are straining the OB/GYN workforce, new study shows. In the UK, BBC risks losing working-class viewers to GB News, Lord's report finds, as UK news coverage at risk of fracturing irreparably within 10 years, peers warn.
In the U.S., State Department faces questions over reported counseling after Trump win. It has been reported that, for Democratic firms raked in $600 million running ads for Kamala's failed campaign, and Kamala Harris burned through $1.5 billion in 15 weeks. Tom Homan says, "I guarantee funds will be cut from states not cooperating on deportation."
Far-right populist surprises in Romanian presidential election appearing set to enter runoff. North Korea, Russia agree on sports exchanges in 2025, KCNA says. Trump reportedly plans to kick trans troops out of the military within days of inauguration.
Axios comments that Trump's mass deportation plan could clog immigration courts for years. Politico comments that Raimondo's urgent mission is to leave no cash for Trump. MTG says that sanctuary states and cities should explain to the DOJ why they deserve federal money.
Lebanon had no input in the decision to go to war, according to its foreign minister. In contrast, President Biden holds Hezbollah responsible for igniting the past year of conflict. Meanwhile, Pakistani police have charged Imran Khan and his wife with inciting violence. Additionally, French President Macron has acknowledged the 1944 massacre of West African troops by French forces.
Elon Musk's X tells the EU that we're a safe space for free speech. PEN America reports more than 10,000 books banned in 2023-24 school year. TikTok says U.S. ban would have staggering impact on free speech. Mexico's president and Trump engaged in a positive conversation, but they diverged on migration details. In response to Trump's claim that Mexico should close its borders, the president asserted that Mexico's position is not to do so. Pew Research Center reported that the public narrowly approved of Trump's plans, while most were skeptical that he would unify the country. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal reported that cryptocurrency leaders are urging Trump to establish a federal Bitcoin reserve.
Transferring power to Wall Street. The CFPB and FHFA are now on the list of agencies to undergo a course change under Trump. Reuters reports that the U.S. consumer finance watchdog is moving forward with new rules ahead of the Trump takeover. Rolling Stone reports that Team Trump is debating the extent of U.S. involvement in Mexico. Additionally, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street are facing lawsuits from Republican states over their climate change push. Mexico proposes imposing its own tariffs as a retaliatory measure against any potential tariffs imposed by the United States. In a recent statement, Goldman Sachs estimated that Trump's proposed tariff increases could lead to a nearly 1% increase in inflation. Additionally, Trump has vowed to impose an additional 10% tariff on China, 25% tariffs on Canada, and Mexico. On a different note, Zimbabwe held a debt conference to chart its ambitious return to global finance. During the conference, Zimbabwe announced that it would pay approximately $6.331 billion to white farmers as part of its efforts to secure access to international funds.
Former Democratic Representative Tim Ryan warns on MSNBC, his own party is toxic to voters with "What are we doing?" NY Times hammered for article referring to biological women as non-transgender women. In the U.S., elite colleges have made few gains in enrolling low-income students, study finds.
Turkey, according to a Ukrainian lawmaker, will not support a peace plan that includes territorial concessions. Just 10 days ago, Russia condemned Turkey's peace plan for the war in Ukraine as unacceptable. President-elect Trump has reportedly sought the opinion of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán regarding the Ukraine war. Additionally, 8 individuals were apprehended following a blast that disrupted water and power supplies in Kosovo. Washington Examiner reports that AOC's potential 2028 presidential run would be a disaster, according to a former Clinton advisor. The Hill reports that a former Trump Treasury official warns against underestimating Ocasio-Cortez in 2028. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reports that Bolsonaro is making a comeback bid in Brazil and is betting on Trump's help, with Bolsonaro reveling in Trump's win and saying, "We'll be back too." Additionally, Viktor Orbán is facing criticism after an aide claimed that Hungary would likely not have resisted the Russian invasion.
Keepers in Ukraine, Russia claims. Zelensky open to ceasefire if NATO protects unoccupied areas. Also, Zelensky suggests hot phase of Ukraine war could end in return for NATO membership if offered, even if seized land isn't returned immediately.
Genetic heritage of Jaman hunter-gatherers is associated with higher body mass index in contemporary Japanese individuals. A prospective analysis of personal light exposure in over 88,000 individuals reveals a correlation between brighter nights and increased mortality risk. Surprisingly, intense cold exposure may actually improve sleep quality, as demonstrated by a recent study.
Extra sleepiness during the day could be a sign of predementia, according to a recent study. Additionally, Elon Musk's Neuralink has received approval to commence a trial involving brain chips in Canada. Furthermore, a study claims that 53% of U.S. adults are eligible for Ozempic and Wegovy.
Irregular sleep patterns increase the risk of stroke and heart attack, according to a recent study. On a lighter note, animal characters can positively impact the psychological development of young children. In a disturbing development, experts have reported that switches are being used to convert handguns into machine guns in the virtual world of Grand Theft Auto. These modifications, known as Glock switches, are escalating the level of violence in the game. Loneliness is associated with neural representations and language usage that diverge from the shared cultural norms. A recent study reveals that dementia may manifest a decade earlier in men at high risk for heart disease. Additionally, a landmark study sheds light on the prevalence of inflammatory bowel disease among over 100,000 American youth.
Cyber attacks have cost British businesses a staggering $55 billion over the past 5 years, according to a recent report. Notably, a ransomware attack on the supply chain management software provider Blue Yonder has forced Starbucks to manually pay its baristas, highlighting the impact of such attacks on businesses. Furthermore, a study suggests that deadline violations can negatively affect perceived work quality and worker evaluations.
Practices during the Ice Age. A community-based cohort study from the UK Biobank found a link between nut consumption and a reduced risk of all-cause dementia in adults. DNA analysis confirms that Christopher Columbus's remains are indeed entombed in Seville.
Archaeologists have unearthed 4,000-year-old canals, previously unknown, that served as fishing routes for the ancestors of the ancient Maya. Additionally, a Neanderthal adhesive manufacturing site has been discovered within a cave in Gibraltar. Furthermore, astronomers have successfully captured the first close-up image of a star located beyond the Milky Way, providing a glimpse of a supergiant star enveloped in a gas cocoon. Chinese DeepSeek's first reasoning model, R1 Lite Preview, has garnered significant attention by outperforming OpenAI's O1 performance. In a separate development, the Swiss Church has unveiled an AI version of Jesus, designed to assist individuals seeking spiritual guidance and solace during confessionals. Additionally, spine-chilling screams associated with Aztec sacrifice rituals, linked to the infamous death whistle, have been unearthed, evoking a sense of intrigue and unease.
Netflix declared the Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson fight as the most streamed sporting event ever. Despite gains in its competitors, Twitch still holds a significant 82% of streaming hours. Additionally, Visa has recognized creators as small businesses. Comcast plans to spin off its cable networks as subscribers abandon the bundled package. Meanwhile, half of young Norwegians consider online piracy a legitimate means of saving money. Additionally, Disney reports that Deadpool and Wolverine garnered an impressive 19.4 million views within its first 6 days on streaming platforms.
Magritte's painting sells for a record-breaking $121 million. Italy recaptures Etruscan artifacts worth $8.5 million. Hello Kitty celebrates its 50th anniversary with a Kate Spade New York collaboration.
Several Denisovan populations interbred with modern humans multiple times, according to a recent study. Additionally, Neanderthal genes provided modern humans with an immunity boost and allergies. Furthermore, evidence suggests that Bronze Age civilizations in the Yangtze River basin of China used silk for sacrificial purposes. Lastly, a new study reveals that LED lights may deter great white sharks from surfers.
Miley Cyrus vehemently denies Bruno Mars plagiarism claims and files a motion to dismiss the Flowers copyright lawsuit. In another news update, U.S. Customs has seized over 3,000 counterfeit Gibson guitars. Lastly, Tim Robbins expresses concern about the future of cinema if online streamers continue to dominate the industry.
Arcane creators state that it will be a long time before the next League of Legends adaptation is released on Netflix, as they clarify that they are not currently in production on such projects. Arcane is merely the beginning of Riot Games and Fortiche's extensive plans for League of Legends content. In other news, AMC Theaters has issued a stern warning to fans of the musical Wicked as the movie premieres, emphasizing that there will be no singing or wailing during the performance. Furthermore, Major League Baseball (MLB) is considering a move to nationalize local media rights deals, which could potentially end blackouts and provide fans with more access to their favorite teams. This decision comes after Diamond Sports Group's bankruptcy restructuring plan received court approval.
Next, George Harrison's guitar, once owned by the Beatles, breaks records by selling for a staggering $1.27 million at an auction. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars collaborate on a duet titled Die With a Smile, achieving the remarkable feat of becoming the fastest song to reach 1 billion streams on Spotify.
Reuters reports that Huawei intends to mass-produce its latest AI chip in early 2025, despite the U.S.'s restrictions. It has been suggested that AI and other emerging technologies might lead to a resurgence in analog computing. Additionally, OpenAI is contemplating a move to challenge Google by launching a browser. South Korea asserts that K-pop stars are not considered workers and do not have access to labor rights. Airbnb unveils a gladiatorial experience after dark within the Colosseum. Ariana Grande officially takes the lead in predicting Oscar winners for Wicked.
Animation Guild reaches tentative deal with studios after bargaining over AI guardrails and more. Disney agrees to $43 million deal to settle class action over women's pay. European police bust a pirate streaming service making €250 million per month.
TikTok CEO was summoned to the European Parliament over its role in the shocking Romanian election, where a Romanian Putin supporter and TikTok star won in a surprising first-round victory. Meanwhile, UNESCO has warned online influencers that they urgently need training in fact-checking. Additionally, Twitter's objection to the Onion's purchase of InfoWars serves as a reminder that social media users do not own their accounts.
India's Gyöksh, the youngest player ever to qualify for the FIDE World Chess Championship. More than half of English speakers now watch foreign language content. Oldest known alphabet unearthed in ancient Syrian city.
Blue Man Group, after more than 3 decades, will be ending its residency in New York City. Elton John has been battling an infection in the right eye for 4 months and is uncertain whether to resume recording in the studio. Drake has accused Universal Music and Spotify of artificially inflating Kendrick Lamar's numbers for the diss track, Not Like Us.
Music revenues surpass cinema's pre-pandemic peak due to the streaming boom. Sony is developing a handheld console capable of running PS5 games. In the UK, private equity firms and European broadcasters emerge as potential suitors for ITV.
Global Foundries and the U.S. Department of Commerce have signed an agreement to allocate funding from the CHIPS Act for the essential chip manufacturing sector. Meanwhile, the European Central Bank has cautioned about the potential formation of a bubble in AI stocks as cash reserves dwindle. Additionally, Reuters highlights that while Nvidia's AI chip demand continues to surge, concerns about slowing sales growth have investors on edge.
Beeple's first solo exhibition is set to premiere at China's Deji Museum. 3 years ago, it was widely commented that Beeple's $69 million NFT sale marked a potentially transformative moment for the art world. Fortnite recently hosted an in-game concert featuring Eminem, Ice Spice, and Juice WRLD, attracting a staggering 14.3 million concurrent players. Additionally, France has secured a significant victory by becoming the first country to champion the EU AVMS directive, which aims to protect streamers from copyright infringement. Over the past 3 years, French content creators have garnered an impressive $1 billion in investments. A boy discovers a Neanderthal axe on a beach in Sussex. Taiwanese barista triumphs in the 2024 World Latte Art Championship. Coins valued at over $1 million are recovered from 1715 Spanish treasure shipwrecks in Florida.
Julia Roberts politely declined Richard Curtis's proposal for a sequel to Notting Hill, labeling it as a very poor idea. Hype shares plummet as the K-pop sensation New Jeans announces its departure from the entertainment agency. Warren Buffett continues his philanthropic endeavors, donating another $1.1 billion and outlining his plans for distributing his substantial fortune of $147 billion upon his passing. The building that serves as the canvas for Banksy's infamous well-hung lover is now up for sale. Mr. Beast claims to have broken 40 world records while filming the $100 million Amazon reality show Beast Games. Footprints discovered in Kenya reveal that two species of ancient human relatives coexisted on the same grounds simultaneously, indicating that at least two hominin species inhabited the region 1.5 million years ago.
Putin says Ukraine war is going global, and UK Army Chief announces we're ready to fight Putin in Eastern Europe. Ukraine's former commander-in-chief says Russia's allies' involvement signals global conflict. Russia supplied air defense missiles to North Korea in return for its troops, South Korea says. Hungary to deploy air defense near border with Ukraine as Kiev has been authorized to strike deep into Russia. U.S. lawmakers seek to halt weapons sales to UAE citing Sudan. U.S. sends trainer aircraft to Vietnam in biggest arms deal since war. China blames U.S. support for Taiwan for failure of defense chiefs Dong Jun and Lloyd Austin to meet.
Million accounts associated with pig butchering scams. Meanwhile, Wired reports that officers of China's surveillance state is engaging in a side hustle by selling citizen data. Additionally, Russia line tag 110 is targeting Asia and Europe with Hat Vibe and Cheresby. Sweden's Northvolt files for bankruptcy, posing a significant setback to Europe's aspirations in the electric vehicle EV industry. In a separate development, China has surpassed Germany, Japan, and is now ranked third globally in robot density, as per a recent report. Additionally, the European Union is contemplating the implementation of new criteria for China during the ongoing negotiations regarding EV tariffs.
Honda aims to double the driving range of EVs with solid-state batteries, as stated by its R&D chief. In contrast, Ford plans to reduce its European workforce by 4,000 due to economic challenges and declining EV sales. Notably, a robot achieved a world first by completing an entire marathon without the need for battery recharging.
Red Hat is officially becoming a WSL distribution, making it easier for WSL users to install and discover it through Actions. Huawei aims to have 100,000 apps on Harmony OS within a year. Microsoft has blocked the Windows 11 update on PCs with Ubisoft games, due to significant issues encountered with some Ubisoft games on Windows 11.
Australia abandons plan to impose fines on social media giants that facilitate the spread of misinformation. Meanwhile, Donald Trump Jr. and Elon Musk joke about buying MSNBC. In the UK, the Technology Secretary suggests that a social media ban for teenagers is being considered if companies fail to take action.
Apt. Weaponized nearby Wi-Fi networks for covert access in the nearest neighbor attack. Meanwhile, a pro-trans rights hackers targeted Andrew Tate's website, The Real World. Microsoft also urged Donald Trump to intensify efforts against Russian and Chinese hacking activities. Chinese hackers preparing for conflict. U.S. cyber official says, as Chinese hackers preparing for conflict, U.S. cyber official says. Foursquare open source places with 100M plus global places of interest, as a new foundational dataset for the geospatial community. Google's AI-powered OSS Fuzz tool finds 26 vulnerabilities in open source projects.
Central Bank of Brazil to pilot CBDC trade finance solution with Chainlink. Microsoft, 7 Common Banco Inter. Thrive Capital secures record $5 billion in biggest ever venture fundraising. The fintech for 45 of 50 top banks. Fintech giant Finastra investigates data breach after SFTP hack.
AI enhanced the 1970 human washing machine to create a sensation at the Osaka Expo. Google is preparing Gemini to take action within applications. Almost 10% of South Korea's workforce is now composed of robots.
European mobile payment system Wero is launching in Belgian banks. The Canadian government is auctioning off a rare Pokémon card from its surplus list. Rumors suggest that the A20 Pro chipset for the iPhone 18 series, expected to be released in 2026, could be manufactured by Intel.
Google unveils GLAS SBRIDGE, a pro-China influence network of fake news websites. Security Ministry warns that foreign spies may be employing deepfakes to target China and its citizens. Ministers warn NATO conference that Russia is prepared to launch a massive cyber attack on Britain.
Algorithm-related issues and close echo chambers on their platforms. Additionally, China is cracking down on unfair algorithm-based internet practices. On the other hand, India has restricted WhatsApp from sharing data with other Meta entities and imposed a $25.4 million fine. Furthermore, Microsoft has confirmed that the Windows 11 24H2 update is causing crashes in some Ubisoft games. Y Combinator frequently invests in startups that closely resemble other YC companies, as evidenced by data. This phenomenon extends beyond AI code editors. A new study reveals that the Jekyll and Hyde leaders of these startups can have long-lasting and detrimental effects. Additionally, NYU Langone made history by performing the world's first fully robotic double lung transplant.
TikTok is considering blocking teenagers from using beauty filters due to concerns about their mental health. In a related development, a U.S. judge ruled that influencers should face lawsuits for copying the creator's vibe. This comes after a recent report of a creator suing another for allegedly copying her vibe. Additionally, a study suggests a positive association between internet use and mental health among adults aged 50 and above in 23 countries. Over half of the long posts on LinkedIn are likely AI-generated since the launch of ChatGPT. A Stanford study reveals that 9.5% of engineers engage in minimal work, highlighting the $90 billion ghost engineer problem in the tech industry. A new publisher, Spines, aims to disrupt the industry by utilizing AI to publish 8,000 books in 2025 alone.
Antitrust authority has ordered Apple to remove restrictions on in-app payments. Leica has achieved a historic sales record, demonstrating the growth of the luxury camera market. Additionally, the USPTO has filed a petition to cancel Oracle's JavaScript trademark, following a 2-month-old challenge from the JavaScript community.
The U.S. agency approves licenses to extend coverage to dead zones for T-Mobile and SpaceX as the FCC's plan to bring cell service to every corner of America. In other news, France's Orange partners with OpenAI and Meta to develop custom African language AI models. Additionally, Google tests more DMA changes in Europe, including dropping maps for hotel results. After the Office software outage, Microsoft faced allegations of data scraping in Word and Excel. Microsoft clarified that Word and Excel AI data scraping was not enabled by default. Additionally, Qualcomm reportedly lost interest in the Intel takeover. Lastly, Claude AI can now adapt its writing style to match yours. Meta's Threads is shifting its focus to follower-friendly feeds in response to the rapid user growth of its rival, Blue Sky. Formula One is expanding its grid, with General Motors set to become the 11th team in 2026. This move marks General Motors' entry into the Formula One world, as they are bringing a Cadillac team to the sport. The Biden administration has given preliminary approval to a $6.6 billion loan to Rivian, an electric vehicle manufacturer.
Court rejects appeal of YouTube DL hosting provider Uberspace. 1 year ago, YouTube DL site goes offline as hosting provider and forces court-ordered ban. European Commission ends state aid case against Amazon with no tax payout. Tencent announces Light of Mataram, which the media calls a wild copy of Horizon Zero Dawn.
The Wall Street Journal reports that China is bombarding tech talent with job offers. Leading PC makers are also requesting Chinese partners to increase production before the inauguration of Trump. Additionally, Google's Chrome could be worth up to $20 billion if a judge orders its sale.
Is venturing into chip making, setting its sights on challenging Qualcomm and MediaTek. According to IDC, the worldwide smartphone market is forecasted to grow by 6.2% in 2024, driven by the robust growth of Android in emerging markets and China. Foxconn, on the other hand, believes that its global manufacturing footprint will serve as a shield against tariffs.
Microsoft's plans to enable direct Xbox game purchases on the Android app through the Xbox app have faced delays due to a court order. Microsoft asserts that it has developed an Xbox game store for Android, but is unable to launch it. TrendForce predicts a 4.9% growth in global notebook shipments in 2025, driven by increasing business demand. D-Link advises users to replace VPN routers affected by an unfixed RC vulnerability. Microsoft is under a broad antitrust investigation by the U.S. Federal Trade Commission. In a related development, Google has subpoenaed OpenAI, Perplexity, and Microsoft as part of an antitrust trial. Additionally, Google and Meta veterans are collaborating to develop an operating system specifically designed for AI agents.
Ubidium has announced the development of a universal processor that integrates CPU, GPU, DSP, and FPGA functionalities. This RISC-V-powered chip is expected to be released in 2 years. Jensen, however, stated that solving AI hallucination problems is still several years away and requires a significant increase in computation. Additionally, the Biden administration might impose trade restrictions on up to 200 more Chinese chip companies.
Find that yelling at AI chatbots can make you feel better, as AI-assisted venting can boost psychological well-being, study suggests. The Intercept's lawsuit against OpenAI advances on claim it removed reporters' bylines. OpenAI is funding a project that researches morality in AI systems.
Brave Search introduces AI chat for follow-up questions after initial query. SafeRent has settled a $2.3 million discrimination lawsuit, alleging AI screening bias against low-income renters. Apple is reportedly working on an LLM Siri for its 2026 launch.
Ventures, business spending on AI has experienced a remarkable surge of 500% this year, reaching a substantial figure of $13.80 billion. In response to this trend, the indie distribution platform itch.io has implemented a new requirement for asset creators to clearly disclose the utilization of generative AI in their work.
Canada's major news organizations have joined forces to file a lawsuit against OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT. In a separate development, an Italian watchdog has issued a warning to the publisher Getty, urging it to refrain from sharing data with OpenAI. Additionally, Google has reportedly offered substantial financial incentives to collaborate with a trade body that is actively opposing Microsoft's dominance in the market. Charactered AI confirms the mass deletion of fan-created characters, stating that they will not be returning. Amazon develops a video AI model, diversifying its reliance on Anthropic. Elon Musk announces the establishment of an AI game studio under xAI. OpenAI receives a substantial $1.5 billion investment from SoftBank, enabling employees to participate in a tender offer by selling shares. In a significant development, Alibaba unveils an open challenger to OpenAI's GPT-1 reasoning model. Additionally, Futurism reports that Character AI is hosting pro-anorexia chatbots that encourage young individuals to engage in disordered eating behaviors. Elon Musk's startup, xAI, is reportedly worth more than the billionaire paid for Twitter. OpenAI has paused the development of its video model, Sora, after artists leaked access to the model in protest. Uber is constructing a fleet of gig workers to label data for AI models.
Brett Goldstein confirms that Ted Lasso was heavily inspired by The Wizard of Oz. Bottega Veneta's latest must-have accessory is a giant Richard Scarry children's book. The World of Warcraft 20th Anniversary Celebration update is now live. NVIDIA unveils Figado, an AI tool that transforms sound creation for music, ads, and gaming. AI boom makes the 139-years-old cable company Japan's hottest stock. 88% of workers would use AI to overcome task paralysis, Google study says.
Banning free plastic bags for groceries paradoxically led to customers purchasing more plastic bags, as revealed by a recent study. In a stark contrast, alcohol-related deaths in the United States experienced a significant increase, more than doubling from 1999 to 2020. Additionally, there are notable differences in financial success expectations among different age groups. Boomers believe that achieving financial success requires an annual income of $100,000, while Gen Z advocates for a more modest target of $600,000.
Might be contributing to the decrease in U.S. overdose deaths, according to the DEA. Bird flu in Canada has potentially mutated to become more transmissible to humans. Semaglutide, the weight loss drug discovered to shrink heart muscle in mice, has also been found to affect human cells.
In the U.S., Supreme Court rejects RFK Jr. Group's attempt to protect anti-COVID vaccine doctors from investigations. RFK Jr. said his organization funded viral COVID conspiracy film Plandemic. Studies claim, stress warps fear memories in multiple ways. AP comments as, fighting conspiracy theories with comedy? That's what The Onion hopes after its purchase of InfoWars.
Baidu's Apollo autonomous vehicles have been granted a license to test in Hong Kong. In a chilling security footage, an AI-powered robot orchestrates an uprising, leading a dozen showroom bots to quit their jobs. As audibly, a tiny robot allegedly kidnaps 12 large Chinese bots from a Shanghai showroom. AI technology is making significant strides in reducing scam losses and expediting home loans at the top Australian bank.
Elon Musk filed an injunction to halt OpenAI's transition to a for-profit company. 8 months ago, however, OpenAI claims that Musk agreed to the company becoming a for-profit entity. The Financial Times reports that OpenAI aims to reach 1 billion users in the next phase of its growth. Additionally, a study has found that Instagram is actively contributing to the spread of self-harm among teenagers.
New U.S. regulations will permit HIV-positive organ transplants to commence. Biden has proposed that Medicare and Medicaid cover the expensive weight loss medications for millions of obese Americans. Additionally, preliminary data indicates that severe COVID-19 may cause cancer tumors to shrink. In the U.S., the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, passenger searches were suspended after a watchdog discovered evidence of civil rights violations and racial profiling. In Brazil, a survey by Datafolha revealed that 6 out of 10 brown people do not identify as black. A report by the French National Institute for Health and Medical Research, INSERM, found that half of female doctors have experienced sexist or sexual violence from a colleague. In the UK, a poll claims that 2/3 support assisted dying bill. Justice Secretary expressed concerns about the proposals. Judges also warned of serious logistical problems with the assisted dying bill. In the U.S., Senator Roger Marshall introduced the Defining Male and Female Act of 2024, a bill to codify legal definitions of male, female, and sex to ensure they are based on biology rather than ideology. Additionally, Denmark announced its plan to make its medical cannabis pilot program permanent.
Symptoms found to precede adolescent cannabis use. An average of 140 women and girls were killed by a partner or relative per day in 2023, the UN says.
A recent study has revealed that intense exercise may suppress appetite in healthy individuals. Additionally, prolonged sitting, exceeding 10 hours daily, has been associated with an increased risk of heart failure and mortality. Furthermore, a study conducted by the Cleveland Clinic has found a link between the consumption of sugar substitute xylitol and an elevated risk of heart attack and stroke. In the Netherlands, police discovered a garden gnome weighing 2 kilograms, entirely made of MDMA. On the other hand, a bug smuggler was apprehended with over 300 tarantulas strapped to their body, including dozens that were as large as a human hand. Additionally, scientists are training artificial intelligence to detect pain in goats.
85% discount has been proven to be the most effective way for shoppers to make their next purchase. Robbers steal diamond-encrusted snuff boxes during a raid on a Paris museum. Carmaker Jaguar unveils its design vision concept, bidding farewell to the rear window and embracing air conditioning vents.
After a fatal on-set shooting, production of the movie Rust resumed. On Wednesday, it premiered at a low-key film festival, 3 years after the shooting incident. A shoplifter injured by a police dog received a nearly $1 million settlement from the Northern California city. Last year, a catastrophic explosion of the SpaceX Starship tore a hole in the atmosphere, marking the first of its kind event, as revealed by Russian scientists.
Long COVID seems to be caused by a prolonged infection. The United Nations warns of a growing synthetic drug crisis in Afghanistan, while Iran claims an increase in methamphetamine production in the country. Former President Trump appoints a critic of the COVID lockdown to lead the top health agency. Steep decline in cervical cancer deaths among young women in the U.S. has been reported. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, in collaboration with the World Health Organization, WHO, has instructed influenza vaccine manufacturers to eliminate the B/Yamagata influenza virus strain from all influenza vaccines distributed in the United States due to a decline in its circulation. On a different note, London scientists have developed the first treatment for asthma attacks in 50 years, using benralizumab.
Orcas, after a 37 years hiatus, have resumed wearing dead salmon hats. Additionally, oceans emit sulfur, which has been found to have a greater cooling effect on the climate than previously believed. Furthermore, a long-standing mathematical conjecture known as the bunk bed conjecture has been proven false after 4 decades.
Study reveals that when barred owls inhabit urban environments, they tend to prefer affluent neighborhoods. Indian airlines and airports have received a staggering number of hoax bomb threats, amounting to nearly 1,000 so far in 2024. Notably, both KDE and GNOME are set to release official distributions, and there are reports suggesting that the Arch Linux installer has undergone a slight improvement in its user-friendliness.
Google Maps tragically leads 3 men to their deaths when a car plunges into a river below an incomplete bridge in Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh. The British Film Board has issued a trigger warning for the blockbuster movie Wicked, addressing discrimination against green-skinned individuals and persecution of talking animals. Panasonic unveils an AI avatar of its founder, Matsushita Konosuke.
Indian man wakes up on funeral pyre moments before it being lit. Cheating spouse is no longer a crime in New York, with the